So it being 4 o'clock on Wednesday, October 5th, let's open this meeting for the Gardner Elementary School Finance Subcommittee. So I call the meeting to order. Dr. Hammond, would you mind calling the roll, please?
Dr. Pellegrino?
Present.
Wayne Anderson? No. Robert Hankinson?
Present.
Jennifer Plavin?
Present.
Bob Schwartz?
Present.
Mark Hawk?
Present.
Present. Josh, I see you're on the line. Thank you. Josh Cormier. And have I missed anybody else? And I see, no, for the record, Steve Rockwood is also on the Zoom call. We have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. So let's move right along to approval of the minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes from September 21st?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Schwartz. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion on the motion, let's put the matter to roll call vote.
Dr. Pellegrino?
Yes.
Bob Hankinson?
Yes.
Jennifer Plavin?
Yes.
Bob Schwartz?
Yes.
Mark Hawk?
Yes.
It's a vote, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. Votes unanimous. Motion carries. Can we move on along to the approval of bills and orders? Dr. Hammond, you have something new to show us?
Yes, could you give me 1 second here and I'll bring something up. I just didn't bring it up real quick. Should make it life easy. Okay, could I share, Mr. Chairman?
Yep, you're all set.
Okay. Everybody see that list of the invoices?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I sent this list out today, so Mr. Chairman, we have from Granger, you can see $416.64 and $2,584.20. Red Thread at $5,691.09, and then there's a series of from school furnishings, $32,135.71, $3,529.96, $11,360.52, $12,398.55, $658.63, $13,887.50, and $10,635.83. We have WB Mason of $35,645.20, and another one $9,275. Wenger for $31,864.89. Rent-A-Cart for $2,472.12. AV Pro for $107,585.21. We just received an invoice from them, which I can bring up in a minute, for $31,311. This invoice for Pro AV is for September. The $31,311 is for August, where we missed it. Then we got Pro Institutional for $36.95 and $1,807.45, and then DD Waste for $475. So I would recommend on these right here that we have one motion to approve these bills as stated.
Do I hear a motion to approve the bills?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Hawk. Thank you for seconding, Mr. Hankinson. Appreciate it. Any discussion on this motion?
I have a couple of questions
Sure.
on a D&D waste removal for $475. And there was another one. If I can find it.
While
Oh,
you're
it's from Home Depot for $38, $39, $36, $95. My only question is why didn't the general contractor pick this up as opposed to the city of Gardner or the Gardner School District?
These are costs that were associated for the D&D waste. That's the removal. That was for costs associated with the move, clearing out, purging for a dumpster. And I don't know exactly what the Home Depot item was, but there was a number of items that, once we were moving in, the Granger items, these Home Depot items, that was determined that they needed in order to, be within the school. They weren't ordered as part of the FF&E. So those were ordered more recently. Those aren't part of the general contractor items. These are school items.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that's all I wanted to know.
May I have a question on Rent-A-Crate? Didn't we approve a previous invoice from them? Is this number 2 or is it repeat?
It's going to be one of about 7 or 8. I'm not sure how many have been approved that you've seen to date, but they bill as they, over time. So the longer you have them, the more bills you're going to get. We've certainly returned a number of crates. I don't know that they've all been returned.
There's still at least 100 out.
Yeah, so we'll still be getting some invoices from them, but we'll hope to wrap those up as quickly as we can.
Thank you. Do we need to remind staff to empty them and return them?
That's
think the-
probably a good idea.
I was just
The
going to
cost does
suggest
add
that.
up.
The bulk of it's in the other building in Elm Street or Waterford. They have a lot there. We only have 35, 40 maybe in the new building. And
Most of them are
there's like
regular-
136 out. Let's say 36 of them are basically in the new building. The other 100 are split between Waterford and Elm Street.
Okay. So we'll have to look into that. Mark, do you know anything about the ones that are at Waterford Street? What's in those things? If these-
Waterford Street, I don't know. I'll have to go check. The ones at Elm Street, I'm aware of, and the ones at the elementary school, Earl and I talked about the other day. Part of the problem was you had some people move from, we'll say, like classrooms into an office. So they packed a lot of stuff. So now they're trying to figure out how they get rid of some stuff. So yeah, we're going through all that right now. We're cleaning it all up.
Dumpster works well.
Right, so we might have another D&D waste removal for some items. Is that what you're saying?
Nope. Now we have the compactor, so we're good there.
Okay.
That was in the flurry of the move over the weekend with teachers throwing stuff out, with us throwing stuff out, with the library books and all the stuff that needed to be tossed. We were trying to find dumpsters any which way we could. And the contractor did allow us to, help fill his dumpsters also. So the fact that we only have one for $475 is good.
All right. And that makes a little bit more sense too. So that when they went over, they realized they didn't need some of the stuff they thought they'd need.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. All right, well, that makes a lot of sense. All right, so do I hear a motion? Any other discussion on the motion? Any other questions? Okay, hearing no more questions, let's put the matter to a roll call vote, please.
Dr. Pellegrino,
Approve.
Bob Hankinson,
Yes, approve.
Jennifer Flavin,
Yes.
Bob Schwartz,
Yes.
Mark Hawk.
Yes.
Okay, let me stop hearing that and let me bring up this one that came up on us. Hold on, let me bring it up real, give me a second. Okay, I'm going to share this with you. This one just came in this afternoon, and okay, let me just share it. I do want to say I want to thank Eileen Bristol for all the work she's been doing and all these invoices coming in back and forth. So she's been doing a great job in tracking those and getting them in and get the phone calls when are we going to pay. So I just want to make everybody know she's doing a real great job and working with it. And then into Tim, these go to Tim, and then he gets approval before you get it. So this is the one, I don't know how we missed this one. This is for $31,311, and they outline everything there. What I'm asking for is that you say approval subject to Tim, Alex verifying that with the normal procedure, but I don't want to wait another month on this. So if the committee could approve it, it would be greatly appreciated.
Yep. Do you want to show us what this is again? Can you show the second page?
Sure. Here we go. That's everything that's in there. I think I don't know, Tim or Matt, one of you want to comment? I think they've been very cooperative in getting stuff done. Am I correct?
Yeah, Pro AV is one of our IT vendors. So this was part of the FF&E package. Pro AV was the contractor that was responsible for putting in all the projectors in each of the classrooms. And due to supply chain, we were not able to get the interactive projectors that were ordered. But Pro AV offered to install a previous generation of projector, and then they'll swap that out for the specified item once they're available. So they've been very helpful. This is all, I'll take a look at this one just because it came in today. Haven't had a chance to review it, but we'll take a look and make sure that these numbers and quantities are appropriate, but they've been very helpful.
Yeah, they did all that at no additional cost as well.
This won't be paid until Tim verifies it, but at least Eileen can getting it processed, so it won't take a month to get paid. So, Mr. Chairman,
Move to approve with Tim's approval.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hankinson. Did I hear a second from Mr. Hawk?
Yep.
Any discussion on the motion?
Well, to me, that page that shows on the screen right now looks like a duplicate of the earlier one that we just approved.
Well, it is. The difference would be in the amount that they're billing this period. So
Okay.
under column E, that's what they're billing for this particular period, and then any kind of stored materials. So in column F. So that's really the difference. Their schedule of all their costs is consistent with each invoice.
Okay.
there's the two numbers. You take E and F, and that's what it is. So, okay, I'm going to stop sharing that if that's okay. And I'll take the. Let me stop sharing. Take a roll call vote.
Well, any other questions or comments, discussion? All set? Okay, hearing no discussion, let's put the matter to a roll call vote.
Dr. Pellegrino,
Yes.
Robert Hankinson,
Yes.
Jennifer Plavin,
yes,
Bob Schwartz,
Yes.
Mark Hawk.
Yes.
It is a vote, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, everybody.
Vote was unanimous. Motion carries. Report from the OPM.
Okay, I'll start off with the finances. Let me just share my screen. Okay, so this is the document that you guys have all seen in the past. Column A is our budget, followed by B is invoice to date. Invoiced, this period is D, encumbered to date, but really F and G are the two that we like to take a look at to see how much of what's been invoiced to date do we think is going to be eligible for reimbursement, and how much reimbursement do we think we're going to receive on that. So if I scroll down, you can see our budget at the bottom here is just under 90 million at 85 or 89.558 million, and of which we've been billed. And granted, there is a little lag because we haven't seen Bacon's September invoice. So this is really just through August, but just over 64 million has been billed. We've encumbered 76.5 million. So there's roughly another 11-12 million dollars yet to be billed. But of the 64 million that we have approved for payment, we're anticipating that about $47.3 million would be eligible for reimbursement, and based on the district's reimbursement, that we would receive just under 38 million at $37.8 million reimbursement. So almost 38 million of the 64 is coming back to the city. So it's about where we expect it, but this will continue throughout each month as we submit our pro-pay applications for payment.
Excellent.
So financially, we're doing well on the project. We're where we thought we would be, with bids coming in low in the beginning, and I know that we've had a number of changes along the way, but we're still in pretty good shape contingency wise.
Thanks, Tim. Any questions?
I'm good.
Okay. Any construction updates?
Okay, basically, during the day, this all site work is going on, working on playgrounds primarily. They just finished the stone wall or the stone base for the informational sign, the digital sign up at the top of the hill. That's finished now. So all three of those signs have their stone base in. But like I said, basically all the work is happening at the playground. They've been installing the slide recently, and they're building a little platform for the slide. Installed granite steps going down into that lower playground area. And kind of basically scratching around the ground to kind of start leveling things out and filling in between the buildings and at the ends of the buildings, start getting ready for the next phase, which would be possibly be the rubber playground, surfacing going down, which there was a discussion today about possibility of postponing that, but I'll leave that for a separate discussion. On the inside, it's basically second shift work. According to Bacon, a lot of people are coming in each night and they're picking away at the punch list. I've noticed it, especially with the painting. I've noticed a lot of areas that hadn't been previously painted or painted. The other stuff, it's very hard to gauge because it's sometimes a lot of little kind of picky items that aren't so obvious. But the stage floor has been installed. It still has to be polyurethane. And then the vented base around the perimeter of it has to be done. They started installing the wall pads in the gym. They weren't there today for some reason, but maybe 20–25% of it has been installed now. And the bleacher pieces and parts are all laid out on the floor, getting ready for them to install when they come back, whenever that's going to be. What else? The gym, cafeteria, pretty much finished. They've been working, some guys have been working weekends, doing glazing and so forth. There's still a bit of that to go on, and glass is still coming in, and some of it's still not here yet. But they're all picking away at it. That's and hopefully they're telling us we might be at a point where they can have worked out the issues with the locking of the front doors. Fingers are crossed. They think they have it figured out. They have to now implement it and to make sure it actually does work, which would be very good news. And they're starting to, apparently, based on a meeting they had last week, they're starting to pull out the weeds that are growing up in all those various little parking islands.
Good to hear.
Yeah, they're just getting together with the landscaper to differentiate, help them differentiate between what's a weed and what's intended to be there.
Not as easy as you think.
And they've also done some work in the front of the building and the south side of Building A, where those mounds are, and putting like stone stair steps or something going up, and they're working at that area, and edging also like the what they call the mow strip around the perimeter of the building, where it's gravel for like, I don't know, 18 inches, 2 feet off the building, and there's a metal edging band to separate that from whatever the other surface adjacent is. That's pretty much what's been going on.
You mentioned some safety around the fencing outside. Have we worked out a solution for that to make it safer?
You're talking at the top of the stone revetment, or?
Yes. The email that you had sent.
Yeah. I believe we're going to be doing fencing, Christian, correct? That's what your office is going to send out?
Yeah, Mark, we had sent a few options back from Stimson. One looking at placing some logs at the top, another looking at some split rail fencing and plantings. So if we can try and schedule a meeting on that. I don't know with you and Earl or Wayne or who needs to be involved, but that'd be great, and we can move forward with that.
Yeah, I think Mark and Wayne is enough.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions, comments, concerns for the OPM?
Well, I think there's one thing, Matt mentioned it. We heard today at our job meeting that we have a poured in place rubber surface in the playground areas.
Mhm.
And it's temperature sensitive as far as when it can be installed. So the contractor is not sure how quickly they'll be ready to install this. And if they can't get it installed, they may have to install some bark mulch, some wood chips in the playground areas so that they can be used over the winter months and in the spring. And then they'd have to come in as soon as school gets out in the summer to be able to put down the base material and then that rubber surfacing.
Okay. That's so the kids won't be playing in mud. That's what you're saying, correct?
Correct. Just gives them something a little bit soft to land on if they let go of the swing or somebody pushes them down or something.
Okay.
It's just kind of unfortunate that, winter comes early in Gardner and so you just never know. If we had a warm stretch, they might be able to get it in, but there's certain temperature limitations
I mean, the
overnight.
70s this week.
I know. Hey, if they're ready tomorrow, it would be perfect. But that's just we haven't really investigated that because we just heard about it today as a potential issue.
Okay.
The other thing I might add is just the MSBA always asks when we get to this stage in a project if the district is planning to do any kind of ribbon cutting or ceremonial opening of the building or open house, something where the MSBA often will attend those and speak, similar to what they did at the groundbreaking.
Okay. We are having an open house next week for our families. And it's our typical open house. And I want to say it's next Thursday. Is that right, Brenda? So Brenda said.
Yeah, I want to say Wayne mentioned the 13th.
Yes, October 13th.
Okay. So we did give the contractor a heads up that no punch work that evening. And if you have some messy items to do, maybe don't do them that day, just so that we don't impact anything that you guys have planned.
What time is that going to be?
6 to 7:30.
I'm sorry, Brenda.
6 to 7:30.
Thank you.
I'd recommend that any sort of ribbon cutting be actually done when the building is done.
I
That
would
way
agree with that.
Jack and the gang can look good in front of a finished building rather than a working process.
Good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's good to live in the building for a little bit. Get some student artwork on the walls and that sort of thing. And so that way, when they go around and tour the building, they'll be able to hear how excited everybody is and how great it's been being in a new building.
No artwork on the walls.
There was a fire in Elm Street School today in one of the walls.
Really?
So it is excellent that we are not that it's just a small group of kids from Gardner Academy that and luckily no kids were in the building, but it was just it's an electrical fire. They're still working out where exactly they know where it came from, but they're looking for the wiring, so they're tearing apart the walls. So it's fortunate we're building a new school.
They narrowed it
Just in
down to
time.
either artwork on the walls or a time capsule.
Actually, they dug up the time capsule at the middle school and they put it in Tupperware, and it wasn't waterproof, so water got in it. Like everything is just drenched and ruined. So poor Lizzie was all excited. We found the time capsule, but Yeah. So I think that brings up Mark's point about time capsules. All right, moving on. Any other updates or any other questions for the OPM? Okay, thank you very much. Architects, Christian.
Great. I will also share screen,
That was
Okay,
not an enthusiastic great.
great. I'm excited to be
There we
here.
go. Good answer.
We have change order 20, which Dr. Hemmon forwarded along to everybody. Already approved items totaling 40,298. Happy to talk about any of these if there's any questions on them, but they've already been approved at previous meetings. So in the PCO narrative that we sent along, again, I just did a quick summary of which meetings because it was a little confusing. Some of them were approved on September 7th, and then the majority were approved on September 21st. Those ones from the 7th were really just ones where there's a little bit more back and forth. And so that's why they were a little bit delayed getting wrapped into change order 20. Moving forward with recent PCOs, a little bit, and then this was also included in the email from Dr. Hemmon. So 318 power and data to dry storage. This is a room next to the kitchen. And there was just some interest in future flexibility and the ability to have somebody working in there or turn it into an office down the road. So recommend approval at 3,400. Sheetrock enclosure at stair 4 and stair 5. This is where there's some exposed structural steel. The extent was kind of expanded. Some of it we definitely felt like was necessary to cover up. And then while they were there, it got to be fairly significant, especially at stair number 5. So this is coming in at $19,764.
I would like to add to that, if I may.
Sure.
Christian, I was just looking at it again this afternoon. That price is, the labor is based on normal work during the day. So if it's after hours, it could be going up, you know, $3,000-$4,000. Because the labor part of it was, I don't know, like $12,000-$14,000. So it's very possible it could go up a few thousand more if it's after hours. So if we can get maybe a not to exceed approval on this of 25, we'll probably.
Well, let's try and do it over the Christmas break if that's the case.
Right, and this is how they submitted the PCO, Matt, so
Right, no, I understand that, I'm just pointing it out.
Yeah. 348 is for another access panel in the grease duct coming out of the kitchen hood. Was required by the school's duct inspector. There's kind of conflicting code requirements, but it seems like to be better safe than sorry is to add this other small panel access at that grease duct. 350, maybe Tim and Matt can talk a little bit more about this one, but this is some site lights that were damaged by moving trucks by the furniture company. So I think 2 of them were damaged, Matt, and one of them.
Yeah, the first one, we don't know who did it exactly. We think we do, but no one saw it. It was just, we'd be assuming it was the biggest truck that went down that day. But the second one was clearly delivery truck for Red Thread, and they're already making arrangements to cut a check to Red Thread to reimburse them, and we're just going to cut their requisition by $3,200 or whatever it was. You know, more or less back charged them.
Yeah, so
follow-up.
essentially it's added work, added scope to the electrician to put in new heads. So we'll pay for that, but we'll get reimbursement at least for one of the heads where we know who did it by basically short paying or getting a credit against the furniture that they were delivering.
So follow-up question on that. Is that the appropriate height for those lights? They're 12 feet.
In terms of,
that would probably be something that Christian, your Fuss and O'Neill would have to weigh in on.
yeah, we can look into that. But in terms of other damage happening in the future, Mark?
Oh, I can see this continuously happening.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna have trucks coming in and out of there, and those are oddly low. So I didn't know if they were supposed to be that height or if the specs call for a higher light, because it does seem odd how low they are and close to the road. I don't know
I'll
if
look
that's something
into
you
it.
guys
I
do.
know that part of it, we wanted to keep them fairly low. So for our, foot candle levels at the property boundary. But let me look into that. I'll get back to you.
All right.
A quick note. Great, 353 was one that was a little bit frustrating, but classic at the end of these projects. So there were some some junction boxes that were left uncovered, and Pro AV, who's under the technology contract, was going to come in and use those, but they needed to be covered immediately for the electrical inspector. He didn't want to see any uncovered junction boxes. So this was just a temporary measure to have Griffin go through and apply covers to all of those junction boxes for $643. 356 was a request from the elevator inspector to change the ceiling at the elevator machine room to a fire rated ceiling to ensure that there would not be access to utilities above it. 366 is a significant credit. In my mind, it's not great news because it's unfortunately it's a product that we had hoped to include at the upper portions of windows throughout the school on the south side of the school. There was a light redirecting film that helps bounce the light up off of the ceiling, and it's unfortunately no longer being made. We looked through several different manufacturers. The original spec was from a 3M product, and we went through a few different options. Contractor also tried finding any that was in stock somewhere. Could not find enough, and so eventually it just became apparent that instead of piecemealing it together, we should just take the credit. So this is a credit for $74,850 for that daylight redirecting film. 369 is a similar issue that we've had in other portions of the site. Just a little bit additional asphalt needed to really get that grade just right coming from the sidewalk to the parking areas. This is at the B and C entry grades. This generally they want a approval for a not to exceed amount. Then once they actually get out there in the field, they recalculate the amount of asphalt. Previously, it came down quite a bit. I'm not so sure about this one. We haven't done our initial calculations yet, but we recommend approval at a not to exceed of $6,000. 371 was a inspection that the city did for backflow preventers that got passed along to Bacon and for $355. So with that deduct from the daylight redirecting film, the total above came to just over or just under 29,000. And then at our meeting today, there's just two others that I'd like to add if possible. One is these both approval at a not to exceed. So we really haven't had a chance to really review them, but understand that the timing is tight, especially for 370. So we wanted approval if you're comfortable with that. So this is adding an under drain to the sand at the bottom of the slides. This was just, again, something that was noticed in the fields with the rain as of late, that there was a little bit of ponding observed down there. And so to install a new site drain there seemed like a good way to go for $4,975. 374 is for new posts that were needed at the stair 3 rail. This is at the monumental stair near the cafeteria, on the cafeteria side where we have the storefront to help isolate it acoustically from the rest of the school. Posts were needed to get welded to the stair, and they've actually done this work already. It looks great, but there is some disagreement over whether the rail could have been attached to the storefront with some prior planning, or if they needed these posts. This cost comes to $5,995. Any questions on either change order 20 or the items that have gone through today?
For 37, For 370, I'll say that I've never seen a slide that didn't have a puddle at the bottom, so hopefully that will alleviate that issue.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Christian, on change order 20, is that the same number that was voted at the last meeting?
It is not, because the last meeting was on just like, it was a combination of items, just like it is today, with a not to exceed. Each individual item was voted on, but because change order 20 is an amalgamation of items from previous meetings, the number is different, the total.
Mr. Chairman, we would need to vote $40,298, change order number 20.
Okay,
I'll move it.
thank you. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Blavin. Any discussion on the matter? Hearing no discussion, let's put the matter to a roll call vote.
Dr. Pellegrino,
Yes.
Wayne Anderson's not here, Robert Hankinson,
Yes.
Jennifer Plavin,
Yes.
Bob Schwartz. Bob Schwartz,
My mic shut off. Yes.
okay, thank you. And Mark Hawk.
Yes.
Did I miss anybody? It's a vote, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you very much. Any old business, new business, or other business to come before the committee?
Steve, do we need a separate vote for these items here that
I think they were
likely be
combined.
incorporated into change order 21?
You want to tell the contractor they've been approved, so proceed. Am I correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I would agree. We should have a vote on those two.
We're a motion to approve the following two new items.
Steve, didn't you add that number? No, you didn't add that number together?
No, it's not on 20. No, this
Okay, I thought
this just came in. So
Oh, okay. Then I'll move to approve the 370 and 374.
thank you, Mr. Hawk. For a second?
I'll
Second.
Thank you for a second and third. Any discussion on the matter?
Yes, please.
Yes.
The new total is not the total of 370 and 374. Am I missing something?
Yeah, that's a good point, Bob. So yeah, I guess what we're actually asking for a vote for is all of the PCOs covered in this Word document: 318, 343, 348, 350, 53, 56, 66, 69, 71, as well as 70 and 74. All of those coming to a grand total of negative $18,017.
Yeah, but we've already approved all the things up above.
No, sorry.
No, we haven't.
We
You
did.
approved these items up here for change order 20.
Okay.
And now we're asking for approval for these items.
is that takes into account the 74,000, whatever that dollars was for the.
Exactly. That's what's still a negative number.
So it's a negative number.
Correct.
Kind of hard how to approve a change order to a negative number, but we can.
Do we, so
easier
do I hear
this way.
a motion to approve this matter so we can get $18,000 back?
Yes.
Thank you. I hear a motion.
Second.
Second, thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, let's put the matter to a roll call vote, please.
Dr. Pellegrino,
Yes.
Robert Hankinson,
Yes.
Jennifer Plavin,
Yes.
Bob Schwartz,
Yes.
and Mark Hawk.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, that would be part of change order 21 that would be put in, and there's other future ones that might come out.
Okay.
We get the savings, but it might be a positive number that we have to pay when we get some others coming out for the next meeting.
Yeah, we're used to having to pay positive numbers, so. Okay, so any old business, new business, or other business? Any public comment, Mr. Rockwood?
Yes, I've been monitoring the traffic on Pearl Street and along the access road from Pearl Street. And we've made significant improvement since the first couple of weeks. So I think everyone is going to be a lot happier at this end. I don't know what's going on the other end, but we'll see, I guess. And thank you for the opportunity to participate.
Absolutely, thank you for coming. Next meeting is November 2nd, 2022. No need for executive session. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Good
Everybody.
night, everybody.
See you.
Good night, all.